Dear Hamza, I'm 16 years old and extremely focused on building a successful and meaningful life. I've grown a YouTube channel to around 15,000 subscribers and I'm currently making about $5,000 a month at 16 years old. W's in the chats for Rudy. Let's go. I've been also training hard and sculpting my dream physique, and soon I'll be traveling to Bali to continue pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Yeah, message me in our platform here. Let's do like a workout or something when you get to Bali. But despite all this progress, I feel held back by something closer to home, my older brother. He's the complete opposite of who I strive to be. He's sarcastic, negative, physically weak, and embraces a woke, far left mindset that seems allergic to discipline, ambition, or responsibility. Oh God, I find it so hard to even try and like emphasize with these kinds of like libtards, like these weird liberal people. You know, I was actually a leftward leaning little pussy. You know, when I was younger, I used to go on this website called Reddit, which is kind of like a social media for gays and for feminists, basically, which is 90% of the world these days. And so I was like a far left kind of little pussy. I thought Elon Musk was like a scammer and whatever. And I just happened to stumble in like the right rabbit hole where basically, imagine like I was like a pussy when I was growing up, right? Got no girls, no self-respect. My friends bullied me, for example. And I was going on, like just normal social media. Everyone's a feminist. Everyone's all this bullshit. It's just bullshit, right? I just ended up going down this rabbit hole where one day on this, like on the sort of social media, Instagram and whatever, and Reddit and stuff, people were talking about this sort of community or this group of guys that were like a danger to society. It was the guys who were like right-winged. And apparently they were like, misogynist. They hate women and they're trying to kill women and they hate women. They're a danger to society. And someone linked the group that they were talking about. You can't really see it anymore now, but someone linked it. And I clicked on it because I was interested. And I still remember the first sort of post I saw was someone saying something like, guys, make sure you lift weights. I had just started lifting weights, like weightlifting to build like, strength and muscle and stuff. I just started weightlifting like a few weeks before that. So I clicked on it. I was like, oh yeah. And he said everything that I already believed. Make sure you lift weights because it will discipline you. You have to be consistent. When you build a really good physique, you'll be more attractive to girls. One, just physically and visually, but two, because your psychology will be better because you've been through a hard 1,000 workouts and you'll also keep yourself busy rather than being overly available for her. And then, like he was telling, okay, make sure you eat clean. Don't eat modern day weird food. And I was like nodding my head thinking, oh yeah, this is amazing. The next one was more specifically about girls, and it was saying, okay, don't be like a pussy with girls. I remember the post was something like, women will forgive you for being an asshole, but they will never forgive you for being a pussy. I remember reading that and I felt insecure because when I read it, I identified as the pussy and I visualized the guys who I know are kind of like assholes. But I heard, I was only like 17. I heard that they had been having sex. It blew my mind to think that like people my age were having sex. I couldn't even imagine it. But I knew that some of the guys who were called like assholes in my high school, my college and stuff, I knew some of the girls had sex with him. And so I read through this post. My heart was beating fast because of the way these guys were speaking of like, oh yeah, you don't have to be a pussy forever. You can be a bit more like the asshole. And the way you do that is just by living life on your terms, unapologetically, just like how women are doing, just like how the most desirable men are doing. It's only like these weak men that are sort of bending over backwards towards women. And it's not even getting them what they want in the first place. And I was nodding my head the entire time and I paused. These were the people that those little little left-wing people said were like a danger to society. If anyone is a danger to society, it's the antidepressant pill-popping weirdo that is the left-leaning people. The ones who are trying to... I won't even, because what is the danger to society other than a lack of freedom of speech? Where even a creator like me, I'm afraid of talking about my opinion because I'll randomly get my whole fucking family business terminated if I talk about some of the issues of these fucking people here and what they do in front of children. Yeah, but anyway, I was on YouTube this morning. The reason why I'm saying this is because I was on YouTube this morning. and I saw this video, which it's always from the same like left weird like feminist type of girls with the ugly haircut where it's like straight there, like their hairs are like straight there. Some girls can put it off, but no feminists can. And she was talking about like this female dating coach called the Wizard Liz, and basically it was like the girls talking about each other, but she did it in this like very like politically correct kind of just whatever. And I clicked on her channel, and it was just her like making video essays about modern life, and it's just so cringe. All these people, bro, these fucking woke left-wing kind of people, they all think they're so smart. They all think that they've got like such a correct analysis of the world. But if that was true, why are they always all poor? Like all these left-leaning people, they think they're so smart. They think that their views on things like toxic masculinity and alpha males are so smart, that their worldviews are so right. If their worldviews are so right, why are they all poor? By definition, if your worldviews are right, you will get rich. If your analysis of the world is true, you will get rich. Every left-leaning person, especially far left-leaning person I know, every single one of them are poor, and the more left you go, the more of a junkie, weird little leech of society you are. Every single time, hands down. And the more right-leaning you go, the less of a junkie you are, and the more you are contributing to society through hard work and hiring other people. Hands down, every single time. I realize now, as many of us have, the right wing and even far right is the only place for young men. I don't usually speak about politics because I'm not very well educated on this. I only know about politics through fucking Instagram reels, so don't fucking count on me for anything. But I'm telling you, from my understanding, if you're a young man, you have to be right-wing. You have to even be pushing into far right. There's no other place for men like us to be on the political spectrum. There's no other place. If you're left-wing, you're a fucking traitor to like your own sex and also to the feminine women of the world. If you're in the middle, you're basically a pussy. If you say you don't really care about politics, you're also kind of a pussy. I realize this now. The people who say that they don't really care about politics, because I used to as well, and if you're watching this, you probably think the same. Like, wait, I don't care about politics. That's just because you're at a low level in life right now, when your own self-improvement is at the forefront of your mind. Your glass is empty. Your glass is empty. When you've done enough self-improvement, you get to a good level where you're not riddled with insecurities and addictions and whatever, and your glass becomes full and it overflows. That's when you can start to think about other people and things bigger than you, which is when you start to think more about politics. And so I completely stand by the idea there's only one political standpoint for the modern young man, which is right-wing, even going as far as saying far right. That is the only way. No matter what race you are, even if you're a young man who's gay, it is only the right wing that has ever tried to help us. The left wing, they fucked us in every country of the world. They fucked us, they left us behind, they ostracized us, they bullied us, they fucking harassed us, they gaslit us and manipulated us, and they brainwashed us to believe that we were bad people because we were born male. It is only the right-wing people who have ever tried to help young men. If you're a young man, there is nowhere on the political spectrum for you to be other than the right wing. I am sure of it. Do not, and anyone you meet who's on the left wing, just save your energy. They're always so exhausting. Every single time, especially the girls as well, they all think they're so intelligent. All these left-wing people, like, because they're all like kind of well-spoken, and they'll write big comments on the internet, or you'll be speaking to a girl who you'll realize has like a bit of this pussy kind of woke mindset, and they'll just say things like, "No, everyone's equal," and you're like, "No, by definition, everyone is not fucking equal. You're just a fucking imbecile who's just trying to be nice." But that's not the truth. It's not. These people, they have to intellectualize every experience and everything, and they're just fucking so cringe. And the final nail in the coffin for me was, I saw this online, was like, okay, if these people are as smart as they say they are, why are they never rich? They're always poor. All these left-wing intellectual philosophy kind of little dorks where they talk about feminism, literature, or whatever. If you understood the world so well, why are they all so poor? Because they don't understand the world so well. They live in a safe society which was created by definition by the right-wing strong men. So now they have this space, they have the privilege that our fathers and grandfathers have given them, which is that they can basically like disobey the men who gave them the safety in the first place. Not every country is going more and more left wing and woke, and you should be terrified for the future because there's many countries where it is still right wing, it is still strong, it is still conservative. The men are all focused on grinding, even the women are, and they'll fight for their families. If you come from a weak society like America, UK, Europe, you're already seeing the fall of your country. You're already seeing that the white man is going extinct. You're already seeing that white people as a whole are going extinct. Used to be 30% of the population used to be white about 100 years ago. Now it's like 7%. We could get so deep here, honestly. I've recorded a video like this about 4 times talking about these things, and I delete it every time because if you're also right winged and you're someone who wants to know the truth and share the truth, you will be attacked and deplatformed these days. These people are a genuine like shit stain on society, genuinely. The only reason they exist, by the way, these left wing junkies, is because the right wing people are such high performers that we pay taxes and contribution to society so that these junkies can basically get free money from us. That's it. Like, it's consistently, bro. The weaker you are as a person, the more left wing you are. The stronger you become as a person, the more money you make for yourself. The stronger you become, the more right wing you'll lean, and then you'll look back at your like left wing sort of, like your left leaning younger self, and you'll literally see the correlation between weakness and being more of the sort of left wing kind of political ideology. I could be completely wrong, by the way. Like I said, I haven't educated myself fully on this kind of stuff. This isn't my expertise. His views on money and success are honestly the most limiting I've ever encountered. Yeah, they always are, because he doesn't need to make money when there's a right-wing strong man like you who will basically have to give him money. Here's the thing, I still love him. He's my brother, and part of me wonders, if I can't even be close with my own blood, how far can I really go in life? This is a cope. You don't have to be close to your own brother anymore. You don't have to be close to your own family, even though that sounds crazy. Preferably you are. These days, it is not about the family ties. It is about ties based on equal values. Before, like 50 years ago, the only people you could have met are basically geographically located next to you. Your family, your friends, teachers, your society, where you come from. Now that we're able to connect with the internet and we are able to get into extremely micro niche specific kind of values, now you can find someone who is 100 times more like you than your own family is. Your family might share your DNA, but that's your day-to-day life being shared on DNA is bullshit. Your day-to-day life with other people should be shared on values, and families these days do not usually have the same values, again, because of this weird modern-day left-wing psyoping where they've removed the father from the home, sent the children to the school and whatever. Families don't have the same values anymore. If you had a strong patriarchal father who basically got to control and force the family how he wanted, the family would have the same values. Now that that's not the case, and the little girl is in her room doing the newest fucking TikTok dance, that type of weird fucking TikTok move that they're all doing, pretending to get fucked by guys when they're like 12 years old, and your son is like researching puberty blockers or some shit, and your wife is getting fucked by like the fucking, I don't know, so the guy she works with, or she's like sexting a guy on fucking Instagram or something. Families don't share the same values. So I know this sounds crazy. You should deprioritize blood and DNA. You should prioritize values. And if you get that in the same person, if, for example, you've got your brother who shares the same values as you, okay, awesome. If you don't, prioritize the values rather than the blood and the DNA. I've always dreamt of becoming successful alongside him, similar to the Tate brothers. Yeah, a lot of guys want this. Me too. And a lot of guys, like, we saw the Tate brothers rise, and we see, like, damn, like, that's so fucking interesting. Where two guys are on the same path, they can live with each other. They're not being divided by women. They're not being divided by values or whatever. It's very important. It's very valuable to have this. But again, if you can't have this with your blood brother, you can have this with, like, new brothers that you actually meet who you've decided to be with. If your brother is a fucking pussy, it doesn't make sense for you to, like, keep on trying and try. Like, I mean, by all means try and get him onto the path, of course. I don't even have to say that. That's a a given. But if you tried a bunch of times, you cannot force him to like get onto self improvement, especially if he's your older brother as well. And then at that point, bro, you have to just basically think, okay, I'll create some distance. I'm gonna go live my life. He's probably gonna go live his. The moment he gets a mid tier little girlfriend who's like a little junkie and who posts like provocative pictures on Instagram, he's gonna like fall in love and just be gone anyway. You've just got to focus on your own journey and then also on the people who are similar to you. Eventually, your brother may actually get to the awareness where he'll see you do really well, and maybe he'll want to lock in himself. Maybe he'll get the kind of awareness from looking at content from mine or Andrew Tate or whatever. Maybe try your best to get him onto the path, but if you can't, don't beat yourself up for it. What I would say is go ahead and find people who share values to you. Please listen to what I'm saying, okay? Before the last 10 years, the only way to have someone who was super close to you was just kind of meeting them geographically, whether they were your family and you're so close to them, or people in your hometown, or let's say this was 20, 30, 50 years ago. Now, not just with the internet, but where the internet's gotten is that the internet's become so segregated in a good way, where now it's actually you can find your exact kind of values set up. For example, look at this social media platform we're on right now. If everyone who's watching this on YouTube, this is called Library of Adonis, which is my social media platform. And in here, basically, it's Hamza fans. So it's okay, if you like Hamza videos, if you share this very similar mindset towards me, if everything I've been saying in this video is making you nod your head, this is the type of place that once you trust me enough, you join, because it's a paid thing, right? You join this, and you'll find other guys who you would be shockingly similar to, weirdly similar to, where you'll literally have the same kind of jokes. You'll literally understand the smallest fucking inside jokes automatically. You'll share the same goals, you'll share the same values, the same mindset and everything. It's better for you to make a friend of someone who's like this rather than trying to force a friendship with someone who's genetically related to you but not philosophically. I'm telling you, keep the genetic thing, have some respect for the people you're genetically related to. But these days, that's getting kind of outdated now. What's more important is that you've got people who are actually of the same values as you, and you must take advantage of the internet. You must do. The internet's made this so fucking easy and so nice that you can find someone who's got the same kind of values as you, and you can level up with them and meet them in real life and go on calls with them and everything. So I'm torn. Should I stick to the principle of surround yourself with people you want to become and accept that I maybe need to distance myself from him? Or should I try my best to pull him towards the Adonis path to help him unlock his potential and grow with me? Try it once or twice. Then I would say just fucking focus on yourself and focus on the people who are like you. Gregory said, distance yourself. David said, he is your own blood, succeeds so much and so hard that he will just understand that this path is the correct one. Literally, if you drop him to 25,000 in cash in his lap and tell him to join you, you honestly think he will say no? Never give up on your own blood, except in the most extreme circumstances. This is halfway true, and this is halfway true. So, for example, let me tell you my story, right? So I basically had to distance myself from my family because I just felt like we had nothing in common. And also there was a lot of trauma and unspoken, unresolved conflict for, all of our lives, right? And so I disappeared when I went to university. I maybe saw them once a month or something. And then by the time I graduated from university, we had this massive fight and I blocked all of my family members. And I didn't speak to a single one of them for maybe about 9 months or about a year or so. And it got to about COVID when my dad found my girlfriend on Facebook and he sent her a message and she showed me and she was like, oh, is this your dad? He just sent me a message. And it's hi, I don't know if it's you, but Hamza mentioned your name once and we think maybe it's you. Is Hamza with you? Is he safe? We haven't heard of him from a year. Is he okay? We've not seen him for so long. If you can get him to message us. His brother's getting married. And I remember reading that and I was I was so depressed and overwhelmed and I was smoking weed every day, kind of what happens when you don't have family in your life. And I didn't even know that my brother was dating someone or anything, so that was a shock to me because my life was shit during this period. I was just working shit jobs I didn't like and stuff. And when I read that my brother was getting married, I got this really sadness because I was fuck, life goes on. Life goes on. It's been a year. So I started to, it took me a few months, but I started to patch up some things with them and eventually I moved back to the home. And for the first few months, there was a little bit of chaos. There was some arguments, especially with me and my brother. Like we'd argue quite a lot. We had a few fights and everything. It got like pretty fucking messy. Like there was a few times where we had like proper fights and like like, we're fucking dropping each other and everything. The families, there's holes in the wall and shit like that, right? So it was hectic as fuck. And then give it like another like year or so after that, my brother got his own house. There was enough healthy distance, and my business started to do well. I went from like 0 subscribers to like a few thousand. Then I started to make like 1K, 2K dollars a month. Just about a year and year 2 months or whatever, like 14 months. One of my videos popped off and I started making like 15K a month. And I think this is around when I hired my sister first as like my assistant, so she logged into like my all my accounts and whatever, and checked my emails and stuff. So I did that with her, and then that was sweet. And then, you've got trust for your family, so it's like way easier, whatever. So that's nice. And then it was about almost 1.5 years later where me and my brother were like, we were way better, right? But we still had like a bit of distance, whatever. We weren't so close, in like a weird way, even though we weren't, if you get what I mean. But in 2023, I messaged him and I said to him, like, how much money do you make from your job? And I think he said like 3.5 or 4K. And I said, if I pay you more than that, would you leave your job and work in my business? And he said, yeah, I'd leave today. So I said, okay, do it. So I basically just like hired him inside of my company. He's a part of our like social media platform here. He's like the right hand man for me. He just does everything that I need him to do for me, basically. It's like a wide variety of tasks, which means that I just get to focus on recording videos. And then since then, it's like the respect's been very high, and it's like next level, better than it's ever been before. So all that to say that sometimes the answer is distancing yourself and also getting them on the path with you at the same, maybe not at the same time, but like at different times. I had to create distance so that I could focus on myself and actually get really successful enough to the point that then I could, for example, I retired my father, mother, sister, kind of retired, like they work in the company, but like, it's pretty, it's not crazy hard to like work in this company because, we all only work like, I'm not too sure how much they work, but yeah, basically, like their job's a lot better working in this company than it is like working full time back at home. And then I was able to kind of like get closer to them. We share a very much very like similar values. Me and my brother, very very similar to all of us in here. Basically, we're all like quite right wing, quite like dominant masculine guys. And yeah, it's like I had to just go and level myself up first. So there's something to say about like, yeah, you should help your brother as much as you possibly can. But sometimes you've got to go on like your own little sort of solo kind of journey to level yourself up and get yourself to such a high level that then it becomes almost like a no-brainer when you say to your brother, come on, come do this with me. He looks at you thinking like, how the fuck, like, my younger brother, he was a fucking retard. And now out of nowhere, he's become like a fucking millionaire. What the fuck? It's when someone has so much respect for you, that's when you tell them like self-improvement advice, that's when they listen. So that's what happened for me and my family. And so that's similar to what I'd probably suggest for most guys watching this. Try your best to get your brother onto this path. 100% try it straight away. Show him the videos that helped you, like, my videos on YouTube. Get him to like fucking log in on your account on our platform here and go through the courses, whatever. Get him to take him to the gym with you and tell him about your business and even see if he can do a role for you in the business or whatever. Yeah, try it your best. And if there's a bit of like a resistance, don't push it so hard that you end up having like a massive family argument. Instead, just continue focusing on yourself, continue just like growing your own thing. Because if you're not like best friends right now, there's still a great chance that you will be a year, 2 years, 5 years from now. Anyway, so that's what I'd recommend. Let's say if there's a 0% chance that your brother could ever be similar to you and he's always going to be a bit of a sort of left-leaning junkie, then I would detach and I would just be kind of like, I would be respectful and pleasant, but I would not spend unnecessary time with someone like that, even if they're family. I know that sounds crazy, But your family, you should always be loyal to your family, but that doesn't mean that you have to actually sit there and be next to them for hours a day. In fact, 9 times out of 10, you're actually better off creating some distance between you and your family, for example, moving out of the household. Still having the love there, have the loyalty, have the respect, but you don't actually have to be physically close to your family, especially if your family share different rules. So if you don't want it, like for example, my sister, she's a woman, right? So she's more like left leaning and whatever, or she's way left. My sister's like the feminine version of me, where yeah, but like me and her, we still lots of love and whatever. We're siblings and we can laugh about shit. But also, she's not someone that I'd spend quite a lot of crazy time with because our values are completely different, completely and utterly different, which is fine. You don't have to hate someone for that. But you just have to know, like, you should just spend time with people whose values are similar to yours, whose values are the ones that you want, and whose life is similar to the one that you want to build. You don't have to be an asshole about this. You just don't spend a crazy amount of time with someone who, if you did that, your life wouldn't go in the direction that you want it to. So the answer isn't as clear as like, yeah, just don't speak to him ever again and block him, or yeah, become best friends with him. You've got to play it by ear. You've got to just slowly try and get him onto the path with you. Slowly tell him to come to the gym with you once, twice a week, for example. Get him on like a minimalist training program where he just does like 1 or 2 hard sets for each muscle group a week, for example, and he'll get like 50, 60% of the max gains anyway. Get him to like do some things with you and maybe read a book with you, or to listen to a podcast when you guys go for a drive and go hiking and camping, and get enough time where you're by yourself, away from everyone else, where you can talk about life and your goals and you can talk about these things. If you're finding that your time and your effort is wasted, give it a few tries, and then just conserve your energy. Put it into your own self so that when you get even more successful and you make even more progress, it'll make it easier eventually when he needs some help for you to kind of tell him, like, come on, this is the path that worked for me. You've seen it work for me. Come join me now. That's what I would recommend. Yeah, hope that helps.